Hello. Hey. Oh, Dawn. Hello, Dawn. Hello, Graham. Lovely to see you. Well, I thought I'd do a live. This is exciting. I haven't done one for this channel before, so let's see how it goes. Can you hear me okay? Can somebody just let me know that you can hear me all right? Bit of a delay as well, isn't there? Look. Good. Thank you, Bernardo. Oh, super. All right. Lovely. Excellent. Right. So I'll give people a little bit of time just to come before I get cracking. Hello, Mouse Nation. Mouse Nation, what is your name? Because I see your comments all the time, but I don't want to say thank you very much, Mouse Nation. I wonder whether you've got a name. Hello, Lee. So who have we got? Graham, Bernardo, Menacing Mistral, Dawn, Judy, Peter, Mouse Nation, Gary, Dawn, Lee, CSD. All right. I know who that is. My wife. Joe. There you are, Joe. Right. Excellent. That's much better than Mouse Nation. But I like the name Mouse Nation as well. It's nice. So this, what I wanted to do this live because 3 weeks ago, I had a conversation with the emissaries, okay? They give me some information, which at the time, I needed time to assimilate it. And I was thinking, not sure about that, not sure about sharing that information. And then I recorded a video, I edited the video, I had it all ready, and I just couldn't post it. And I was thinking, why? And I know why, because from the beginning, the emissaries have never, ever swayed from this message that they give, which is everything's going to be okay. You know, there's a message of great hope. Everything's going to be fine. But this message that they give me wasn't one of those. Okay, it wasn't one of those. But anyway, I've talked to them, and I've kind of understood what's going on. So I want to share this with you. But what I wanted to say before I share it is that this is good news. Even though it mightn't be what we want to hear, it's still good news, okay? And by the way, if you've got, and I'm going to keep it like an eye on the comments. If you've got any questions or anything as I'm chatting, please just put them there, and I'll answer them, okay? So I was talking to the emissaries and I said, how are things? And they said, we're very excited with the turn of events, okay? And I felt excited too. But I said to them, listen, this sentence came to me, which was, the more that people wake up, the worse it's going to get. And I said to them, is that true? Is that what's going to happen? The more that people wake up, it's going to get worse. And they said, yes, which was not the answer that I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear, no, it's all going to be beautiful. But they said yes. What they said was that the way that we're set up at the moment, the baddies are seeing this great awakening happening, okay? The more people that wake up, the more panic they get into. And they only have one playbook, and we all know the playbook. It's the same one. Fear, fear. Yeah, that's their playbook. So what they said was that as people wake up, the baddies only have one way to respond to that, and that is by turning up the volume, by turning up the fear, by making it worse. Okay? So that's what they said, was that the baddies look at it this way. It's us or them. And they've got absolutely no scruples. So they've got no problem with it being us and that they're okay. They don't care. We are not important to them. But what is important to them is that they beat us to the Great Awakening. That's the idea. We're in a race. They're trying to get us stopped with everything that they do. They're trying to stop us from awakening. but they know that they can't, it's happening, and it's happening so quickly. I don't know how you feel, but lately, the amount of people that are waking up is immense. You know, and we've just had this, I know I've talked about it in videos, we've had this big shift in Spain, whereas before people were putting up with anything. And now they're out in the streets, they're not happy because they know there's something wrong. And so what's happening is that the baddies, everything that they do wakes people up. And this is why this is good news, even though the emissaries are saying, look, they're going to up their game. It's going to get worse, but it has to. And the reason that they're going to up the game is because they are shitting themselves, because it's slipping out of their hands, and they don't have the flexibility to do something completely different, something radical. They just do the same thing, more of the same. I think that's the sign of madness, where you just keep doing the same thing and keep expecting a different result. So that's where we are. Now, the reason that I've done this live now as well is, since I had that message, it was 3 weeks ago, what I do is this: when they give me a message, especially when it's something a little bit more detailed, in my studies, as I'm looking at people talking, listening to people that I respect talking, I listen to see if I can hear the repeated message, because it happens all the time. The emissaries tell me something and then somebody else is talking about the same thing. So I have heard a lot of people talking about this. It's going to get more intense. I was just listening to a gentleman last night who was combining a mixture of things, but lots of astrology. And he was saying that the next few months are extremely intense in terms of intense energies and things like that. But then he was saying that 2024, once we're into it, there's some really positive stuff that's going to happen. But I think we're in a moment where it's going to get hard. But this is the message that the emissary said to me, and this is what they said to me today. When these things happen, we mustn't take them personally, because they're not happening for us. We don't need them. The people who are awake, we don't need that. We don't need more bad stuff to happen. We don't need these horrible things to happen. They're happening because the people who are asleep need them, not us. If we could choose, we would just shift off this dimension and go to another one, you know? But we're here, and there's a lot of people who are still asleep. So the reason that they need it is because of what's called normalization. The people of the world have normalized badness, okay? And it's what we all do. Every single person has this system of normalization. If you look at somebody who is a heroin addict, they normalize the hit of heroin. So they actually need heroin to let them be normal. And that's because the body won't allow us to have these massive hikes of adrenaline and you know, these bad drugs that we get in our bodies. It won't allow us. So what happens is, after we've experienced it a couple of 3 times, the body just turns it all down. And this is what's happened with badness in the world. It's so prolific. It's so everywhere. People know about the corruption. They know about the pain and the suffering. They know about all the injustice. And yet it's so overwhelming for them that they've just toned it down. That's normal now. The new normal. Remember that we're talking about that. The new normal. And so what happens is, for them to wake up, if everything just stays the same, they won't wake up, because they've normalized it. What? Politics is corrupt? Yeah, we know that. You know, the monetary system is corrupt. Yeah, we know that. So what happens is, for them to wake up, this big swathe, because there's a big swathe waking up now, but there's an even bigger one to come, it has to get worse. It has to get worse for them, but it's not for us. And so that's why the emissary said, don't take it personally and don't worry. It's a means to an end. It's not going to be the end of the world. It's a means to an end. So then I asked the question, so how? You know, if they're going to up the game, what are they going to do? And they said, well, they're not going to do anything different. They're not going to do anything new. All they're going to do is augment what they have. And they said, It's going to come in two ways. Let me find my words. They want to stop the unity consciousness happening. Okay? To do that, they've got to increase the fear. But also what they've got to do is stop us from getting information. So the emissaries don't go into details about what could happen, but they said they will try to block communication. Okay, and we've heard lots of stories. I mean, right before the plan stroke demic, they were talking about, you know, the 10 days of darkness and internet blackout and all of that. But they were saying communication and now getting together. They're going to be two areas that they need to stop us from being able to get together. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't even know what it could be, and I don't want to get into it because I don't want the emissaries have never got into the details. But they said they will block communication if they can, and they will block our ability to associate with one another. I mean, you know, that's what they did. They didn't do the communication. That was a big mistake for them during the lockdowns. Everybody was on the internet. That woke up a load of people as well. It's just everything they do wakes people up. And so this next phase is going to wake up a lot of people, and we need it. Because once the biggest portion of us is awake, when that portion of people are awake, we will create the next steps just by our intention. But we've got to have that group. I mean, we're a hefty group now. I don't know how many we are, but we're a lot. But we need to be more, you know, because that's what's going to change everything when we start saying, hey, not that, this. Okay? So, let me just see if there's anything else that I wanted to say. Yeah. So they said it's not a doom message, it's a message of great hope, saying it's the next step that has to happen. So all we've got to do is batten down the hatches, keep ourselves strong, keep our mojo up, keep our vibe high, and understand that all of this is happening for a purpose. Everything's planned, everything's set out. So it's just a matter of waiting it out, really. I just wish it would bloody hurry up. That's what I think. So that's the message. You know, it's not like super doom and gloom. It's just, you know, we've got to be prepared for them to up the ante. That's all. They're going to do it because they've got nothing else to do. Joe said, oh, it's already hard. I know. But right, let's have a look and see if I can have a look at any comments. They will, Moira, thank you for all of your beautiful comments. I really appreciate them. They will not prosper. It has to wake us up, wake us all up. It ends when they become us. Yeah, exactly. Love saves the day. It's true. Let's have a look, Dawn. I see the crap around me happening, but seem to be cushioned for me. It doesn't affect me directly. Well, that's good. You know, the emissaries were saying it's going to be like, you know, when if you wear a pair of tight shoes and you wear them all day, we're talking about normalizing. You wear some tight shoes and you put them on and you're walking around all day. You kind of normalize that pain. People who have chronic pain normalize the pain. And then when you take your shoes off, it's like, oh, what relief. Or when you're carrying somebody on your back, you know, when you were kids and you would carry somebody around like on a piggyback, and it was only until they got off that you realized how much weight you'd been carrying. And that's because we normalize everything. And so it's what we've got to look forward to is getting those tight shoes off. That's what it's going to be like. It's going to be lovely. Yeah. Or dropping the monkey off our backs. Yeah. That we've been carrying around. I'm looking forward to dropping the monkey. So Bernardo, I heard the blackout is coming over Christmas. All right. But it's meant to be used for people to find some quietness and connect. Well, you know, it's interesting. I mean, you know, the emissaries never go into the nitty gritty of the detail. They never have in 3 years, 4 years, never. But they did talk about communication, and they did talk about us not, for whatever reason, not being able to go and socialize and join other people. And when they did this lockdown with people, and I don't like using their language when they did the plan-demic, the bastards. People people changed. It actually helped people to become much better. They became much better people. They started to understand what was important in life. Lots of people changed jobs. Lots of people, having spent time at home with their families, started to realize how beautiful that was and how going out every day to work was just a chore. So it backfired on them in such a big way, and guaranteed whatever they do next is going to backfire on them as well. It's going to backfire on them for sure. For sure. Let's have a look. Cynthia, you were hoping to see the aliens. I think we all were. Do you know? But I think too many people have talked about it. It's been talked about far too much, and I think it took the wind right out of the sails. So I'm not sure if the aliens are coming. Sorceress, thank you. 777, thank you for your comment. Let's have a look. People at work still talking about before COVID. Gee, it's so ingrained. That I think what's happened with the whole COVID situation is that the people who are, the people who I'm trying to think of the name of it. The people who always think that they're ill. They always think they've got something. What's that word? Hypochondriac. I think what's happened is it's taken those people and made them mentally ill, because the people who are walking around with masks on now, I believe, are really in a bad place. They're in this perpetual fear, and so some people still love to talk about it, because it's that, why do we watch horror films? We watch them to feel that ooh, and I think people they miss it. They miss all of that drama. If you haven't got any drama in your life, if your life's boring as shit, you need a bit of drama, and at least that was drama for them. But they've got to get over it. Get over it. Let's have a look. If you've got any questions about, let's have a look. Dawn, I saw two people double masked. I was just talking to Cynthia about the mask thing. And she was saying, wasn't it mad in restaurants when people would have the mask on and they would pull the mask down and have something to eat and then put the mask back? Yeah, and it was absolutely mad, wasn't it? And we were in IKEA, and there were all of in the kitchen area or the food area, there were these bowls with crisps in for the public to take. And there were a couple that came through, and she had a mask on, and she took a mask off, took a crisp out of the bowl, ate it, and put a mask back on. I thought, hang on a minute, there's probably been about 100 hands in that bowl. 100 hands, all who had been wiping their nose and everything. And yet, she obviously felt protected. It's bizarre, isn't it? Absolutely bizarre. And what Cynthia said, they have to feel that they did the right thing. Oh, yeah. Admitting, the way that our minds work, we must justify our position at all times. All of us. This is the same for us. We are constantly justifying our position. And if you haven't got anywhere to go, if you're not prepared to accept that you were wrong, the only other solution is to justify what you've done and what you're doing. And we've seen horrors happen in the world because people are able to justify what they've done. And that's all that's why people don't want to shift. To shift, they've got to have somewhere else to go, or they've got to be so uncomfortable in the place that they're in that they're going to shift. So this is what the emissaries were talking about. They're going to be very uncomfortable. They have to get uncomfortable. And we've got to welcome that. But also then they've got to have somewhere to go. Where they're going to go. If you're really uncomfortable, the only thing you can do is jump and then just land wherever. But fortunately, we've done all of this work. That's what we've been here for, the front runners. All of the work's done. And what I mean by that is all the information's there. And all they do is, I am extremely uncomfortable. I'm not happy. I better check what's wrong. And so that's why we've been at the front, giving the information. Everything's there. They don't need to look anywhere else except on the internet. It's all there, even though they keep trying to take it down, but it goes up too quickly. Let's have a look. Yes, like peanuts on the bar, Pedro. Peanuts on the bar. Yeah. And they did a check, didn't they? They did a test on the peanuts, and there was something like 50 different kinds of urine on the peanuts. Yeah. Let's have a look. Menacing Mistral. The perpetual fear does cause mental health problems. And you and I both know this from our experience as Jehovah's Witnesses. Ah, okay, so you're a Jehovah's Witness. Why else can they shun family? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All the cult. Remember that COVID was a cult, that society is a cult, that politics is a cult, everything's a cult. And remember that we're in our cult as well. We mustn't think that we're better than that. We have a cult as well. But the question is a cult bad? In and of itself, a cult's not bad if it has the highest intention. But remember that everybody's kind of in the cult. And the Jehovah's Witnesses are very happy to shun family members because they're able to justify that. Because what they've been given is, we love you, and that's why we're shunning you. You know, and when people shunned us during the COVID time and didn't invite us and didn't want to see us, you know, it was like, well, because we want to keep people safe. They always give you this great excuse for doing something horrific, you know. So that's the masters at it. They've been doing it for a long time. So Joe, Mouse Nation. Actually, looking back at all that crazy behaviour is good for the soul. It is. It really is, and a good hard belly laugh. But I do still say a prayer for those who suffered it, as many did. Absolutely. It was horrible. It was horrible for everybody. But I think it was worse for those that didn't even realise that they were being conned. You know, they didn't know. And it's a shame. And those who still don't know. Because why? We're going to become the majority. Right? We're going to be the big group. Can you imagine the embarrassment of the people who are lagging behind, the people who wake up late? I remember even, you know, people who maybe a year into the whole ridiculousness woke up and they felt bad about the fact that they hadn't woke up earlier. And that was only a year in. Imagine the people that have gone through all of that and then are still pushing the whole thing and agreeing and thinking the politicians want the best for them. Imagine how they're going to feel. It's going to be awful for them. In fact, I think that the emissary said this, that when these things happen, if they do, I don't know, you know, plans change. Maybe nothing's going to happen. Maybe it's all going to be beautiful. I bloody hope so. They said that it won't affect us in a bad way, because we already expect it. There's nothing new under the sun with the baddies. We know what they do. But they said for the people who are asleep, it's going to be terrifying. That were their words. It's going to be terrifying for them. So quite what that is, I don't know. Let's have a look. Lee, I've noticed those around me switch off. When you mention certain things like 50-minute cities, is really odd. Yeah. They haven't got the mental space, they haven't got the space in the mind to place that. They've got nowhere to place it. They've got nothing to hang it on. And so it's like all they hear is blah, 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 you know? He's weird. But what happens, what changes is this. Those people, you know, they've been called sheep, all right? And that's not a very nice name, but it's a good metaphor. Because what happens is this. When the vast majority of the sheep are over in one place, the rest are going to follow. You know, there's always an element that's going to follow. And they will just follow. And there'll be a point where they'll want to know everything. And that'll be such a beautiful place when they say, tell me more, tell me more. It'll come. But at the moment, you know, they just glaze over. It's like the Stepford Wives, isn't it? They just glaze over that. I've got no place for that in my mind. So let's have a look. Yes, Pammy, I prefer our cult as well. Our cult's very beautiful. It's very beautiful. It's filled with beautiful people. Yeah. And Dawn, yes, it isn't their fault at all. All of us, at some point, have been asleep. Well, except my wife. She says that she hasn't been asleep. She was always awake. Some people do say that, but I was definitely absorbed in the world. I didn't know that anything was going on. and then I woke up. So everybody, all of us have been out of this loop, and so we were accepted in, and so we've got to accept everybody else as well. There isn't a question to that. Everybody, the more that people come to our side, the heavier we get, and the scales tip. That's all. So every person that comes over to us is a gift, a blessing. Graham, it's going to be harder the more asleep the people are. Exactly. Because they've invested a lot. They've invested a lot in that current system. And when that falls apart for them, they're going to be lost. I was told a long while ago to prepare for the massive flow of people with mental health issues because of this. The awakening process, they're going to go through this loss and everything. And I still believe that we haven't seen the big bit. We haven't seen the big bit. And I'm talking about people with problems. People desperately sad and upset and embarrassed. Yeah, and the same with Joe. Joe said exactly the same, yeah. Let's have a look. Cynthia, also every time that another crisis comes out, they completely ignore the previous one. A few months at the verge of World War. I know. Isn't it just that way? Isn't it just? Maui and all of that. Who talks about that? What about Ukraine? Who's talking about that these days? Do we hear much? It's like, what the situation is now. The media obviously is in the pocket of the baddies. The media is just a mouthpiece of the baddies. They have such a tough job now, bless them. They have such a tough job because they have to create and instill fear in very short spaces of time. Because people, if you drag it out too long, people normalize it, and it's not fearful anymore. That's what happens with the COVID. It went on for too long, and people started normalizing it, and the fear went. So they have to give us these sound bites of fear, but they only last about 2 weeks. 2 weeks, except for the big ones. The big ones they're rumbling on in the background. But meantime, they're giving us these little sound bites. And so if you talk to people and ask them about Maui or ask them about Ukraine, they look at you blankly like, well, that's not really. I remember quoting somebody when the war started with Ukraine. We asked them, so what happened to COVID? Where did that go? And the reply was, and I heard this a number of times, there are more important things to worry about now than that. And that's exactly what happens. It's like, what's the new thing on the agenda? What's the new thing to be scared of? And that's what they do, and it's wearing thin. It really is wearing thin. It must be a hard job being in media now. Yeah, I nominate you as our cult leader. Do you know what? I had a fantasy, not a sexual one. I had a fantasy a long time ago after I came out of the Jehovah's Witnesses, and I thought, I wonder, I would love to do a little experiment, and I would love to start a cult and be a cult leader. Because I know all the steps. I know exactly what you have to do. It's easy to make a cult. And I thought, wouldn't it be like, but like a nice one, not a horrible one, a nice one. But I never did it, and I never will do it. But with the leaders that are going to come through for our cult, they're going to be nothing we've seen before. The leaders that come through are going to be very, very different in the whole approach, and it's all going to be people-centered. They're all going to be people-centered, and there's going to be no incentive for them except to help people. It's going to be beautiful. I get a real sense of that. The new leaders are going to be, and the old leaders are worth nothing. They will not have a place. They have no value to add to anything. They're rubbish. They're useless. Let's have a look. Yes, Cynthia, war in Russia, thought it was over. Yeah, everyone, it just about is. They ran out of money, so it has to be over. Today's news, tomorrow's fish and chips. Exactly, Pedro. Exactly. So, look, guys, I don't want to take up any more of your time. It's been absolutely beautiful talking to you. I don't know whether anybody has any questions. Feel free to ask any questions. We could do 5 minutes, 10 minutes. But that was all I wanted to say to you, was just that message. If it gets worse, understand that it's part of the plan, and that it's okay, and that we're okay, and everything's okay, and it's part of the plan. And I don't mean, trust the plan, that kind of thing. I'm talking about this big plan that's been laid out for a long time, and that we all signed up on. Yeah, whether you believe it or not, we signed into it. Yes, the old leaders, Lisa, are the politicians, everybody who's leading corporations, political parties, all of that. They have no value in the new world. They have nothing to add, nothing to give, because they're all corrupt and they're all self-centered. Remember the two places: service to self, service to others. They're all in service to self. The devil only has service to self people. That's all that he's interested in. He doesn't want any service to others. Hence the fact that we're all on the good side. Everybody who's awakened and who's doing the inner work becomes service to others, because that's why we came here. That's our purpose. And so anyone who's service to self. I remember that in the book of Ra, I remember David Wilcock a long time ago, when actually I admired David Wilcock. He was talking about the explanation of all you have to be is 51% service to others, and you will ascend, you will get through. But if you're under 50%, under halfway, you're not going to get through. And it's talking about a vibrational frequency. When you're in a frequency of service to others, that's where you're going to go. You're going to go to the happy place. But when you're in a low density frequency, it's not going to happen for you. Good guys or bad guys? The good guys are bad guys. Explain that one, Lisa. I don't understand that one. Treasonous traders, Dawn said. Yeah, it's accountability and responsibility. Remember that somebody put in a comment, and it was really, I thought it was really poignant, that we shouldn't forgive them. Okay? And I do lots of work with forgiveness, and it's an important topic for me. What's very important is for us to understand that we do not have the right, nor the power, nor the ability to forgive other people's sins. We don't. That's not our job. The only thing that we can do in our forgiveness is to set ourselves free from what they've done. That's what forgiveness is. It's got nothing to do with us forgiving their sins. We can't. That's for a much higher power. So we never have to worry about, will they receive the punishment? That's already done. They're actually having the punishment now. They have the punishment in every waking moment of their lives. Why? Because they look down and they realize that they're rotten inside. They hate themselves. They have no self-respect, it's all egocentric, their lives. It's got no depth, and they don't like themselves, and they know that they're bad people. That their punishment's already happening. It really is. Let's have a look, Dana. Thank you for the message and reassurance that we are here for a reason and we can do it. We can. I sometimes despair, but your messages keep me sane. We all despair, We all have moments of doubt. Even Jesus, right? When he was on the stake cross, what do you believe, and in the last moment he said, God, why have you forsaken me? Even him. And he knew it all. So if we have moments of doubt, it's okay. But then, you fall down, you stand up, you dust yourself off, and off you go again. That's all. That's all. And we're all here to help one another, and support one another. I used to help Joanne. I used to help the Brexit Party. Met loads of spiritual people and channelers. It's incredible. The groups of people that are coming together. Every time that I get, with awakened people, you're meeting some fantastically interesting people with skills that you wouldn't believe, and healers and helpers, and it's incredible. We're a beautiful group of people. I believe, right, and it's just an egotistical belief, that the most intelligent people have woken up first. The best people. Okay, and then the rest will have to just sort themselves out and get educated. Dawn, I got told by my guides, it's not nice. It's not my place to judge or punish. That's the job of the highest power. Exactly. And I was told exactly the same by the emissaries. Not our job. But don't worry about it. Don't even have to go there. But we do have to forgive them so that we are free. But in that act of forgiveness, we're not forgiving their sins. Yeah? Does that make sense? It's just a way of setting ourselves free so that we're not emotionally tied to them. Yeah? Energetically tied to them. Okay, Lisa, yeah, Mr. T. The emissaries would never talk about him. When he was in power, before, after, never ever talk about him. He's part of the matrix. He's part of the structure of what's happening. It's all a plan that's working through, whatever that means. You know, the savior of this is each person. We are our own saviors. That's it. Nobody's going to come and save us. We save ourselves. We're part of God. We have the power to save ourselves. And so we don't need anybody else. The idea of a knight in shining armor on a white horse coming to save us, that's their structure. Of you have a problem, we'll save it. We'll save you. No, we're going to do it. We don't need to worry about anybody else. Yeah. Lisa, rabbit holes. I think we've all been down. Honestly, we should all have long ears and teeth, because we've all been down rabbit holes. Good God. My wife and I, we woke up 20 years ago or 19 years ago. The rabbit holes we've been down, nobody's business. Nobody's business. And Dawn, yes, you know, in the grand scheme of things, if you want to take a big step back, the baddies are doing a job that they chose to do, and they signed up for that one as well. And so, if anything, and this is what the emissary said a long while ago, their sacrifice is even greater, even though it might not seem that way, because of what they chose to do, it puts them in a much longer karmic cycle. They're in an incredibly long karmic cycle for them to then raise their vibe. And so, if you want to look at it like that, bless them. But when they're beating you over the head, it's very difficult to think that. You know, when they're doing horrible things to you, it's difficult to think that. But in the scheme of things, we all come from the same source. There isn't any other source. Even the devil came from the same source. So, but we're here to play a game. We're not here to think on those kind of levels, because that would take the fun out of it. We're going to baddies. I'll give them a good crack around the head. So, there you are. Let's bring this to an end. It's been beautiful talking to you. And thank you so much. I don't know how many people are here. Does it tell you? 27 people. I was worried that nobody was going to come. I was worried. What I'd like to do is a few more of these in the future. I'll try and I will give you a bit more warning, and then we can just meet up, because I think it's beautiful to meet people and see other people's opinions and comments as well. All right. So thank you very much. I love you all, and we'll see one another again soon. I'll end the stream. Bye.